Hi listeners, Dave here. You would not believe what we have been through with the recording of this episode of Gin and TARDIS for the Doctor Who show, but suffice to say, when we woke up Saturday morning, it looked like this was going to be a lost episode of the Doctor Who show. Fortunately, thanks to some wonderful Mark Ayres style work from our very own Mark, we have salvaged the recording. If it is not up to our usual standard, we do apologise, but considering where we were just 24 hours before this dropped, it is a big deal that we're even able to release this. So I hope it's all good. I hope you enjoy the content. On with the show. Hello and welcome to the Doctor Who show and our first episode of Gin and TARDIS for 2026. I'm Dave.
I'm Richard.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
And we have gathered here today at Camp David to watch some Doctor Who. Now, we were going to watch something different, but this afternoon a package arrived at my office which contained the Season 21 box set. And I think everybody here is quite keen to see exactly what they've done with Warriors of the Deep.
Yes.
So we've made the decision tonight, we're going to watch the special edition of Warriors of the Deep.
Yay!
Hexachrome up be damned.
Movie at some point in the future.
We will do the telly movie next month.
Ready for the 30th.
Ready for the 30th.
Yeah.
Now, while we were waiting for the fourth person to arrive, three of us did watch the Behind the Sofa. That was very entertaining.
It was.
It was a good reminder of how bad some of the effects were.
Yes.
Yes.
Because, look, I'm a bit of a defender of Warriors of the Deep, and we'll have this conversation after we've watched it. No, I am. But I can't defend some of the special effects. But how long ago has it been since you guys have seen it?
I can't remember if I've seen it on DVD. Was it part of a box set?
Yeah, Beneath the Surface.
Beneath the Surface.
Yes, yeah. I haven't seen it, so I don't know that I've seen it in 30 years.
Yeah, it would be a while. I remember I got a time-coded copy of the VHS to write a review from Village Roadshow back in the 90s.
Jesus Christ.
I'm struggling to think whether I've watched it since then. But yeah, it would certainly be a long time.
What about you, Mark?
DVD when it came out, and then watched it and put it back on the shelf.
So 10 to 20, 30 years in most cases.
Yeah.
What are we expecting from the special edition?
Well, unfortunately, having watched Behind the Sofa where they tended to show some of the worst bits, I'm hoping for an upward slant in the viewing experience.
Murka!
I'm just interested to watch it new as it were. So yeah, just give it a burl, I reckon.
Yep.
All right, well, Mark, you're in charge of pouring the gin and tonics.
Absolutely. Hold on. There we go.
Thank you. Excellent real world effect there.
And actually, before we go in, though, what are we drinking? We are drinking Four Pillars Rare Dry Gin. Thank you to Edwin. I dare say we're probably going to need it to get through this. Dave, ready please? Mr. Music.
And we are back, gentlemen. What did we make of that?
Wow.
That was great.
That was.
That was
really
impressive.
good. It was very impressive.
Yes.
A lot of fun watching that again. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. So we'll have a chat about our memories, we'll have a chat about the story, and we'll definitely have a chat about the remake of Warriors of the Deep. But I think it's fair to say we were all very engrossed by that. That was not what I was expecting at all.
No, not at all. No, that was a lot of fun. There were quite a few laughs during it too.
Yes.
Yes.
That was
it was all done in the best possible taste. Yeah, it was great fun.
So just let's go back and sort of reminisce a bit.
Yeah.
I know I first saw this story in 1988 when they repeated a small batch of Davison stories on Saturday afternoons.
Right.
So it was July of 1988, so I would have been just turned 8. And I can remember being very excited because I had off-air copies of the Silurians and some of the Sea Devils, and they were favourite stories, and I knew how dangerous the Silurians were, and they had their flashing eye that could kill you, and how fast the Sea Devils moved. And I do remember sort of watching it as a kid and going, this isn't quite what we used to do. But at the same time, as a kid, I absolutely found it just a really good adventure. And it was only as I sort of became older and more involved in fandom that I learnt that we were not meant to like the Warriors of the Deep, and it was in fact called Warriors on the Cheap.
Yes.
And it was very bad. And then as sort of, the years gone by and I've got my own opinion again, I've come to enjoy it. What about you guys? Do you remember first seeing it and your memories of it?
Yeah, I saw it 1984. Obviously on the ABC.
Yep.
And I think it was shown. It was shown about March. I think it started 84. I think it wasn't too far behind the UK.
No, it wasn't.
And I remember there was a news story in the Herald. It was actually the Afternoon Herald on the Saturday, I think it was, before the season started in season 21, and it had things that goodbye Dr. Peter. I might have that still somewhere at home, that article, but essentially talking about the story and then saying that he's leaving at the end of the year.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
but yeah, I remember watching it avidly, back in the day.
Yeah,
when I was 12.
That's right. Yeah, well, it wasn't all that long after the UK, and I remember they showed in that 20th anniversary special that they put out. They did that thing about the upcoming season.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and they had
the Radio Times thing.
Yeah, that's right. And they had the sort of little blurbs on each of the upcoming stories.
Yeah.
And I think there was one of the set guys, I think, for this one.
Tony Burrows.
Yes, and he got a bit of a look at the set, and I think the Sentinel 4.
The Sentinel 16.
Sentinel 16. Yeah. Look, I remember as a, about 13, 14-year-old, I remember buying into it and thinking it was quite good. Look, its flaws become slightly more apparent as you rewatch it. But
as you get older.
Yeah, well,
yes.
that
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Robert?
Well, I mean, I like Mark and Richard. I saw this in '84, and '84 was, I think, the year that I started buying DWM. So it was this season, I believe, that was coming out. So I was firmly entrenched as a fan. I remember the two things that obviously stick from the viewing. It was Davison going into the water at the end of episode 1, and of course that deathless final line. At the end of episode 4, I enjoyed it. I didn't know any different. You know, it had been. When was Silurians shown in Australia? Was it
83, I think it was.
83 or
83,
so I may not have seen it until then or
86,
sometime after. So I had no reference for what the Silurians were meant to be, how they should be, and all that sort of thing. Look, I remember enjoying it, and as I said before, I think the problem is with stories like this that they're aimed at a certain level of teenager. As you get older, you become more cynical and you go, well, this is very slow, this is very stagey.
Murder's a pantomime horse.
Yes, but the beauty of this edit, this special edition, is that it actually demonstrates that the bones of the story are quite good.
Yes.
And that if you take out some of the less ideal things, it's really a cracking adventure.
Oh, I think so. I think there is a really good story in there. Look, some of the dialogue, and we were talking about this, some of the dialogue is a little clunky. Particularly, probably, well,
and the delivery.
Nice. Particularly in part 1 when there's several sort of fairly hefty expedition dumps and set up conversations. But, as I said, I think there is a very, very good story in there. Probably, and I know this is a common criticism of it, look, you probably needed one more draft of the script. And then there are all the stories about the production being rushed because of the
general election.
The UK,
they lost like 2
JMT
weeks.
was given the option, I believe, to actually drop it and just start the season with the Awakening.
And he said, he said no. He said, exactly. He was given the option, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he said, no, we're going to proceed.
Forge on.
The show must go on.
The show must go on, and they've got a wet Merca. Just freshly painted, dumped it there.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's actually a miracle they pulled that off, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Pennant Roberts isn't the most dynamic director. I'm being honest there. But given what he had to do, he did a fairly good job. And to reward him, he was given then Time Lash. Poor bastard.
So it is a remake of Earthshock, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Earthshock underwater. Yeah. But
without Peter Grimway directing.
Correct.
Well,
and I think you can look. The Earthshock dialogue is clunky as well, but obviously you've got a great director behind it and some good performances.
Yep.
Except for Beryl Reid. But yeah, when you've got a director who's not so dynamic, you've got the time pressures and everything like that. It does come across a bit wooden. Yeah.
It really struck me watching this how many takes should have been done again.
Yes.
And you can just kind of imagine that if they'd had a little bit more time, just even a normal amount of time. There are a number of takes there where you could see the director going, that was a little bit rushed, or that was a bit too stagey, or that was a big first performance, let's have another go.
Yes.
Too wooden.
I was just going to say,
because we did say that too.
Yeah, it was like Ed Wood had directed it. Good enough. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, it really does feel like just we've got something in the can. Let's keep going.
Yeah,
and we know about the pressures. I was still quite shocked at some of the performances.
Oh yeah.
And particularly having not watched this for quite a while. Now, when Commander Vorshak came on, Mark, you had some fairly brutal comments to make. I was sort of, kind of seeing where you were. Then Ian McCulloch comes on. And thankfully for Commander Vorshak, Tom Adams, is it Tom Adams?
Tom Adams.
So thankfully for Tom Adams, he's not the worst.
No.
So there's all the stories that I think Strickson and Field in particular have told about McCulloch coming on and like, I'm a star. I normally have my own series, and I'm going to show you how it's done. And he's bad.
He's really bad.
He's in a different performance. He's in a different production. It's
really
bad.
It's like he's in a butcher shop, just full of ham. He is really bad in it. And his eyebrows going arch up here, and it's like
It's actually like a stage play where it's almost like a Shakespeare's not the dialogue, but
no,
it's
definitely not the dialogue.
But it's that sort of Shakespearean sort of theatrical cutaway to the audience. Where he delivers his dialogue and then he sort of almost turns to the camera and turns to the audience and does the "I'm going to give you a snide look, just so you know I'm up to no good today."
It's the anti-Darrow performance, isn't it? Because Darrow does the same sort of in Time Lash, but he does it with such charisma.
Yeah.
Like you can't take your eyes off him. Where, as you said, Dave, it was it was very Plank-esque.
Yeah. Whereas I think Tom Adams is just reading the script and going, how do you do this?
And he's got his hand in his belt. It's like he's in a western.
Yeah. I guess the compressed filming time meant there was compressed rehearsal time.
Probably, I would think.
So he's just I just didn't know what he was doing, and it shows.
And probably just get up, say the lines, and move on. Yeah.
Whereas Ingrid Pitt, I didn't have a problem. I mean, it's Ingrid Pitt doing Ingrid Pitt, but compared to the others, I didn't think she was.
No,
well,
she's
let's face it. Everybody, when they think of Ingrid Pitt, they all think of her death scene. And I have to say, we gave a real cheer when that happened. That was great.
We're not going to spoil it, but all we're going to say is it's a vast improvement, which isn't hard. But it is actually very, very good. Yeah. Yeah, we were actually very
impressed.
Lots of cheering.
There was.
So we'll come back to the story, but let's go from there into the special edition. That is surely by some margin the most special edition we've seen. Like we watched Horror Fan Rock on the first TARDIS we did. There were some nice extra scenes in different routes, but it wasn't a fundamentally different story.
No.
This felt like a fundamentally different story.
Yeah, well, it's not just effects. It's very obviously been trimmed, and it's been tightened a lot. Yeah. What time? We just look at the clock at the end of it.
Well, I think it was about 21 or 22 minutes, so they must have lost a couple of minutes on the last episode.
Yeah. The whole thing.
The pacing is
not. It was 80-something minutes.
Well, before you turned up, Richard, we watched the behind the sofa version of this, and so it was the pre-edited, the original version, and even in that, you can see that the Sea Devils are lumbering around. Mm-hmm. There's none of that evident in this special edition.
That's a lot of what's been cut. Them sort of lurching up and down the
and
corridors.
It's tilting.
And the thing, and particularly as we were saying in part 4, that bit where you just see them dying in the corridors and stuff. So I reckon all that's been taken out. Yeah. I mean, that story Mark Strickson told about 2 minutes to 10 on the last night or something. They're like, stand there, die, up, die.
No, this version. It just belts along.
It does.
You don't lose the bones of the story, but it does belt along, and the effects that they've utilised have vastly improved the story.
Yeah, it's quite
vastly improved.
Yeah.
It feels to me anyway like a completely new story.
Yeah.
Same story, but new version of it.
And the nerds in the room, I'm not going to look at you all, including myself, we're all going, new. Oh, that's new.
Some of the effects are less successful than others.
Agreed.
There's definite CGI shots at the start of it.
Yeah.
But overall, for me, the improvements are a 9 out of 10.
The Merca is...
Yeah, some of the shots where they've actually had to create them, like the one where the TARDIS is just floating in space.
Orbit,
you see some of the shots of parts of base. It's very obvious they're CGI shots.
Yes.
But where they've actually been just manipulating the original video, they are really effective.
Quite sympathetic. Yeah.
So that was an interesting part of the experience for me. We sort of worked through chronologically to the extent we can without having taken notes. The first thing we noticed was that the theme seems to have been remixed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not sure for the better?
No.
It's not as good as, but it's marginally less good in my opinion than the original.
But it's definitely giving a flavour of, okay, guys, we're in for something a little bit different.
From the start, yes.
Yep. And then there's sort of little minor shots that we sort of noticed. But yes, when we got that first shot of the TARDIS and Sentinel-6, and Richard, you made the comment it looked like the grey TARDIS on the front of the Keys of Marinus novelisation. And I must admit, I looked at that CGI shot and I sort of thought, oh, that doesn't look great. Like, is this the big special that we've been promised? And then they've changed Sentinel-6's voice from sort of 80 advert man to almost sort of pseudo Peter Tuddingham. And I was sort of like, well, this was nice, but is it better? At that point, I was a little bit worried about things. But then we got into Sea Devils and Silurians, and suddenly you've got moving shots of models, you've got other stuff, and it really took off. But I guess what we were all waiting for was the end of part 2.
Yes.
And particularly, as you said, Rob, having sat there and watched the behind the sofa segment where they played a lot of those, the polystyrene door on the opening Merca stuff, because obviously the people on the panel had a lot to say about it.
Yes.
We were having that fresh in the memory. It actually was bad.
That was awful.
It is actually bad, and we're Doctor Who fans. We're classic Doctor Who fans. We're Black Seven fans. We know that there are bad special effects, and we all try to rise above it. But the problem with Warriors of the Deep, even as a defender of it, is those aspects where like doors just flop down.
Yeah.
We said it watching the original. Like there's long sustained shots of the arse of the Merca just sort of blobbing along.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like even. I mean, we all know the story about the Merca's wheeled onto set and the director's just gone, what am I going to do? Yeah. The answer is not film it from behind with long shots.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't linger on it. Absolutely.
Don't linger on it and don't film it from that angle, but they did. Yeah. And they are so bad that I think even as Doctor Who fans who excuse that stuff, you just go, this is actually bad.
Yeah. It's to the detriment of the story and its overall enjoyment. Yeah.
And the show, because there was that story that Michael Grade had said. Yes. He got the job at BBC and he's watching obviously a monitor and saw Warriors on the Deep going on with the Merca, and I think he said
that was it.
Well, plus it's in a bright white floodlit corridor,
which
so
Dave thinks works.
We'll come to that.
We'll come to that. Absolutely.
But I believe one of the first things that arrived on Grade's desk was a report from the BBC into the production of this, where they said like this should not have been put to air.
Yeah.
It was too rushed. It was not up to the BBC standards. This should not have been put to air. And so the very first thing he knows about the show is the producer made bad choices. Yep. And watched the taping and has gone, like this has gone to air in 1984. Like this is not acceptable.
No.
So it definitely had an effect. But look, we got to part 2 and the door's been completely redone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're in a whole different mindset.
Yes.
Yeah. It's actually exciting.
It looks well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks professional. We understand what happened back then, but it just does look professional. It looks exciting. It moves along. It's actually amazing to watch.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is.
It really is.
And it just cracks on part 3. And
the Merca is actually a triumph. Really, it elevates the entire story.
So let's just keep expanding out this point, because our reactions were, we're genuine.
We were shocked.
So we're sitting there going, oh, they fixed the door. The door's actually buckling the right way and everything. And then you get the small glimpses of the Merca, and all four of us have sort of in unison done that. Oh,
yes.
And then it bursts open, and you've got
stuff happening. Stuff happening.
Jaws working, thin, svelte, it's almost cat-like in its body. And we're going, that's really, really cool, that's really, really impressive. Then the tongue comes out and zaps the guard.
Yes.
And that was a cheer. That was a wow.
That's a real surprise.
Moment.
That's a real surprise.
Really
and there's a degree of tension there because of the menace of the creature that we can see now.
Yes, correct. As opposed to
this flaccid thing that sort of lumbers around. And do I really want to be acting anymore if I'm the pantomime boss?
Can I get
That's right. I've worked hard in this industry to be the back end of it.
I'm an actor.
I was an actor, goddammit. It is the Alan Rickman from Galaxy Quest. I was an actor, damn it. Look at me. Help me. Sorry. Wrong Davison. No, it does make a difference, because even watching the, again, going back to Colin Baker's comments on Behind the Sofa, where Colin, he loves the show, but even he wasn't holding back on this one.
No.
And as he says, you could walk away from the Merca. There's no real tension if the guards sort of have to stand in a corridor and wait to be attacked. Yeah. So when you see the Merca bound around a corridor, you're actually like, oh, get out of there, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It changes the whole dynamic.
Yeah. Well, when it leaps upon one of the guards,
it does.
It does, and it's sort of actually rushing towards you as a viewer. Yeah, it's a really well done effect.
Well, we won't spoil Ingrid Pitt's death scene, but that, as I said, again, is a really great movement. And
that is worth buying this set just to experience those 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah. So it's worth buying.
And I nearly said to Dave, "Can you stop that and go back?" Because that was so good.
Yes.
And that's an interesting dynamic, because we've talked about the change special effects and how they improve it. There were a number of times where we've gone, that's really good, that's really improved it, but there were also shots in between where we've gone, couldn't do anything with that.
No.
The Sea Devil sort of campily gesturing for the Doctor to go away. Some of the heads are still at angles, and we're sort of like, you can't do much about that.
Yeah.
And then when we got to the Ingrid Pitt death scene, And we were all sitting there going, I wonder what they could do here.
I thought the test card might have been an improvement.
Just cut away.
Just cut away. There should have been another way.
And so you've got the mix of not just being a viewer watching this for the first time, as most people would be, you've got the fact that we have all seen this many, many times. The Ingrid Pitt death scene is just emblazoned on the fan memory. It's a race memory for fans. So we know exactly what to expect. So the contrast is just like
night and day.
It doubles the effect.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, no,
really good.
Really good.
Worth price of admission alone, as Rob says.
Correct.
Brilliant. Yeah, very good.
And as you get into part 4, so look, next week, Rob and I will release our monthly episode where we talk about Children of Earth, which we recorded last night as we record this. Okay. And one of the points we make there is, even though we both know how that story goes and we've seen it before, the way that RTD ramps up the tension in that. So you are sort of sitting there in that episode going, how's this going to play out? How are they going to get out of this? What's the solution going to be? And you feel that proper tension. I got that in part 4 when you've got, and one thing that does work really well is the new graphics on the monitor in the bridge.
Oh yeah, when they're doing the missile countdown.
When they're doing the missile countdown particularly. So you can cut back to that countdown a lot better. It's not a really dodgy 80s effect. So you can see that countdown, you can see the missiles being armed. They've got some new shots in there. Again, we won't go into all the details, but there are new model shots there that add to this idea that missiles are being armed and that something's going to happen. Plus they cut about 3 minutes out of it. So I was sitting there, having seen this dozens of times before, and knowing the end going, this feels like a countdown. Like this feels tense. And again, as much as I admire the script and the story before, it had never quite taken me to that level.
It elevates it, doesn't it? Really. Although I must admit, I am a big 80s retro gaming nut. I did miss some of the, as Sophie Aldred said, the Donkey Kong graphics of the
Missile Command.
It was Missile Command, but I totally get it. It does elevate it for a modern audience. You could actually put that on BBC iPlayer. Yeah, if I was a BBC, I'd take the old one down and put that one up.
Make that the official
version. Make
version.
that the official version, just so and you can actually say, "Hey kids, you can watch this now without." Going to therapy afterwards.
No, I think they've done well. We actually were also saying during the discussion, I think they've also changed the light level and that in quite a few of the scenes.
Yes,
it feels like
my
that.
memory was the base was a lot brighter lit.
It did burn out my cataracts when I watched it in the olden days, and I think we sort of talked about. I think the bridge is still
the bridge. I reckon is about the same.
It's about the same, but the lower levels
in the corridors and the crew
it's subdued.
Yeah. And a couple of occasions, it's clearly been dropped to the level that the Sea Devils that sort of walk into those rooms are almost silhouettes.
Yes.
So you've lost a bit of that detail, but they have dropped it down. Now let's have this discussion.
Lightgate.
Let's have
Lightgate.
So my take is that a military base that's the cutting edge, the front line of the war would be modern, would be efficient. And as an 8-year-old, when I watched it the first time, I just saw, as Hitchhiker said, gleaming metal and flashing lights, and I've gone, this is the future. This is the 21st century. This is 100 years in the future, and this is what I want the future to look like bright and gleaming and exciting. And I think that works. But it also works. We made this comment in episode 1, or Rob, you pointed this out. When they go to missile alert, they do dim the lights.
Yes.
And so to have that contrast, and also in the Sea Devil base, like they dim the lights there. So I think that to have those contrasts, you can't have it dark and gritty the whole time, or you end up like Resurrection, where again the plot there is that the space station is broken down, but Resurrection just sort of has that unremitting darkness that means you never get contrast. It's just one level the whole time. Whereas I think that the contrast in Warriors does help. But you've got a different view, Mark.
I do. Look, I think a couple of years ago for one of the 42 to Doomsday Christmas specials, I read the book of Warriors on the Deep. Or Warriors of the Deep, I should say, which Dave is now holding in his hands. There you go, by the master, Terrence Dix. One of his better efforts, definitely, of a then new series adaptation, where he talks about, and it's even in Johnny Byrne's script, where basically the base is neglected, forgotten, almost like that space station in Resurrection, where it's broken down. You've got the 2 Cold War factions.
Yeah, and the crew is supposed to be on the edge,
on the edge all the time. So.
They're not doing the cleaning.
They're not doing the clean. They haven't got Halliburton in do the essentials, have they? Where I think that would have worked better. However, I do take your point, Dave, where Resurrection is very oppressive. At least with this one, you have some varying degrees of light and shade, as it were. So I do like the book in terms of how it portrays the rustic, broken down view look of it. But yeah, I think having those sort of two stories in the same season being grim, might have done something. But I think what they've done a massive improvement on what they've done on the special edition, where you do have that bit of contrast now, and it's not.
We all know it's Firefly.
And the future isn't so bright. You've got to wear shades watching it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And look, you're right. Season 21 is grim. Resurrection is probably as grim as it gets, but Frontios is pretty brutal. Planet of Fire's got some nasty scenes in it, but it's not as bad as those. Caves of Androzani is again brutal, but again in Caves you do get, for example, the very nicely lit presidential rooms, all the corporate rooms back on Androzani Major. So when you go back to Minor, it does have that contrast again, which I think is important. But it's definitely of a tone.
Yeah.
And look, I've said before, I think this is the season where Eric Saywood, having come on board a year ago, and he's sort of just gone, right, so how do you script edit? Like, just what am I doing? And just trying to work out what's going on. He got season 20 out perfectly well. This is the one where he's gone, right, I've done this for a year, I know what I want to do, I know how to go about this. And he actually delivers a fairly holistic vision across the season. It doesn't always work, but it's a particular tone, a particular set of themes. Davison knows what he's doing. Strixon's amazing.
Strixon is amazing.
We'll come back to the reviews in a moment. But this is Saywood doing what he really wants to do.
High death count, more death count. I was surprised actually because I've forgotten that it wasn't everybody lives, everybody died.
Yeah,
and then they're talking about the body count and Resurrection. I'd love to do some sort of comparison between the two because.
Well, it's interesting because at the start of the story they say that the Doctor says that the sea base is actually a colony. It makes mention.
Yes.
So it's to me that sounds more than just a military base. There's family in the background. They're dead as well. So
it's the new Vulcan.
Scenes towards the end where the Sea Devils are just mopping up the last of the humans.
Well, there's the gunfire in this edition here in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, thematically, you're a big fan of season 18, Dave. There's that autumnal feel.
Yeah.
Is there a similar vibe going on in season 21?
It's a Threads feel.
Because you've got that. I mean,
Threads is
it's like it's 1984.
Like up to 11.
You think about that time period. You got the Cold War still going on. You got the day after. You've got
year before.
You've got all those sort of things happening. Eric, I don't think was particularly happy. Maybe in his personal life, I don't know. It's very dark and gritty. That's the tone he wants for the show going for, especially against the next season after that. So. I think it was also the times where, miners strike, maybe, I don't know, it was all that sort of stuff going together. Falklands War just finished,
The world isn't quite as safe as it maybe used to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Agadoo was just released. I mean, the world's gone to Yeah.
To answer your question there, Rob, I think there is something in that. I think Davison has, at this point, decided he's doing one more year and out.
Yeah.
And Strixon's decided that he's going to move on, Fielding, you can only do so many decades in the TARDIS. So there is that sense of let's just bloody go for it.
Yeah.
So which takes us, I think, into the regulars. This, to me, feels like Davison season 21 has arrived.
Yeah.
And that Davison that I really like, that slightly more cynical, he's got a few barbed quips in there.
Yep. Yes.
We're not quite at the sort of the Frontios Androzani levels where he's really quite lippy. But you can see that in there, and I think Davison knows exactly what he wants to do. And he's just sort of doing it.
Yeah, without having J&T's, I suppose, permission or blessing, he's just doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, he had that Tom Baker backlash for the first year at least. And the way he's delivering it, as you said, it's very dry. It's not like Tom's flippancy or anything like that. And it does work. It does work.
But as we were saying when we were watching it, the revelation that actually was Mark Strickson, he was great.
When he's been given more than two lines and not stuck in a cupboard, that to me is one of my favourite TARDIS tones.
I mean, he's not given a huge amount to do, but what he does with his
most of it.
Yeah, he does with the opportunity he's given. Whereas my dislike of Tegan is well known, and she's absent in this story. Really. I mean, she's just there to ask questions. Strickson is really, really good.
It's interesting. We often comment, whether it's on the main show or this show or others pointing to Doomsday, that sometimes remastered episodes of Doctor Who on an 85-inch television do not do any favours to some performances.
Yeah.
But seeing Strickson blown up and actually looking at the details, looking at every just side eye that he gives, looking at every petulant, angry look that he gives, it does him a lot of favours.
It does.
And that sense of, like that moment where he's told, you've just volunteered to defend this bulkhead, and the look of just utter disgust. or when Tegan's like, we've got to go back and help him. Well, I would if there was a chance, but there's not. Bugger. And you can just see he's just like, what? He's just looking at going, you're an idiot. Yeah. I am actively contemptuous of you.
Yeah.
And it's a great performance.
It is so close you could feel his ire on that big TV, you know what I mean?
No, but I mean, it even gets down to some of the physical stuff. I mean, everyone, you see people running down the corridor, he doesn't merely just run, he stumbles a little bit to draw the eye.
Yeah.
And there's the line he gives before Davison gives his immortal line at the end of the episode where he's basically sticking the knife into the Doctor.
They're all dead, you know.
Yes, exactly. I think that there's too many companions in the Davison era. 1 works, 2, 3, no. And I think they should have concentrated more on Strixon in the later half of Davison's era. I think it would have worked a treat.
Yeah.
Just him and Davison.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
for
Planet of Fire is very good.
Again, I've got nothing against Janet Fielding. Well, maybe. But, no, but just Tegan is just, no, I can't handle her.
What interested me was I'd kind of forgotten how extensive the B plot with the 2 saboteurs was in this. And it's not helped by the fact that it's the one that Ian McCulloch and Ingrid Pinner carry. But what's interesting is, you're right, Rob, you go back to 3 companions, 4 in the TARDIS back in the Hartnell era, and what that does in good stories is it means that you can send 1 or 2 companions off and give them an entire
subplot.
To actually do. In this one, none of the TARDIS crew really interact with the B plot at all.
No.
They sort of wander into the A plot, get involved, capture, escape, find the exochromite gas, make some start comments, and get out. But there's no interaction, so that B plot really feels like a C plot, because if the TARDIS crew is not involved, do we care as much?
No, it is underdone.
As an adult, I kind of appreciate more what it's saying about the 2 power blocks and that sort of sabotage, but at the end of the day, if you're doing a Monster of the Week story, I want more Monsters of the Week. And the Sea Devils don't even get inside the base until well into part 3.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of waiting for them to arrive. But then, you made the comment, Rob, at the end of part 1, it had actually set up the story in a really effective way.
It had,
It had, although I guess the B plot is probably also where there's, during part 1, there's the big exposition dumps. Where we have to, explain what's going on and why we're here and what our motivations are.
What a sync operator is, how it works.
That's right.
But, I mean, in this particular edit, I didn't feel like I was being squashed beneath the exposition dump.
Okay.
Personally,
it's not as bad as some of the RTD stuff, where it's just...
I did notice it, because I was sort of sitting there, and it probably didn't help that some of it was quite wooden. I know we've sort of picked on Ian McCulloch, but...
Let's pick on him some more.
And quite right.
Twist that knife, people.
What's he going to do? I'm pretty sure he's not a listener.
Or alive.
And if you are, come and join us on the couch for the TV.
Either in life or in seance, whatever you feel.
Mark.
Whatever you feel like,
Where's that Ouija board?
Look, it's true what we've said about the performances, and Davison particularly, he's got lines that he could give in sort of season 19 Davo.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it in season 21 Davo, and that makes a difference. We've all talked about a Mysterious Planet where there was dialogue that was written for season 22, Colin and Nicola. They've just gone, we're just not going to deliver it this way.
Yep.
So suddenly bitchy fighting just becomes friendly banter. The exact same dialogue, delivered in a different way. Yep. And I think what's lacking for a lot of the guest cast here is that sense of nervousness or urgency. There is a lot of sort of, it's 4 o'clock on our day shift, and I guess I'll knock off in an hour, and this is all just routine. There's no sense of, this could be the end of the world. Any moment now, something happens, and I'm pushing a button that ends the world. There isn't that sort of sense of urgency and the like, which I think, had they had more rehearsal time, maybe that sort of aspect would have come out. Because, I mean, Ian McCulloch, for all of his pomposity, was a successful actor. I mean, he was the star of a large part of Survivors, for example, which was a big show. Todd Adams had a successful career and continued to do so. They were not inexperienced actors.
No.
Nor were they Beryl Reid, who we don't have that debate, but was a comedy actor dropped into it and just going, I'm just going to do my thing and hope for the best. They were competent actors. I think they could have given a better performance if there was time and probably direction. And, it is Penn and Roberts, let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking, if you gave that script to, say, a Peter Gridwade... Yeah, or even
then you got Earthshock.
Then you got
II,
even Graham
Dutcher.
Harper. You know what I mean? Graham Harper or some, Graham Harper or Matthew Robinson, if they had a turn on that instead of doing this, that would have been, well, I mean, given the time pressures, they probably still would have done something slightly, I hate saying it, better, getting better. I mean, it wouldn't have cast probably those actors, but it certainly would have got better, cast the right performances and engaged that level of uncertainty and nervousness.
Well, look at what Matthew Robinson does with Resurrection in a couple of stories. As you say, what Grimwade did with Earthshock. I mean, Earthshock isn't a particularly brilliant script.
No.
It's exactly the same sort of dialogue.
It is.
But it is just cut, tight shot, tight shot,
exactly.
tight shot. And they've been told the tone to go for. And they go for it. And that's what's lacking a bit here. But did we care that much because we're just cheering for the new Merca?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. It was, at the end of the day, it was thoroughly enjoyable. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
One thing I did also enjoy about this story is the music. I got some bemused looks from Dave and Richard when I again started reciting some of the musical score, mainly because I played Doctor Who The Music Volume 2 when I was like 12 or 13 and 14, constantly on repeat. So I knew a lot of the cues and everything like that.
Listeners, until you've sort of been sitting on the couch with a gin and tonic in your hand and you hear a friend you've known for over 40 years sort of going... you really haven't quite experienced it.
Or even lived.
At least I didn't go meow meow, like that. But the music is actually really Jonathan Gibbs. Because you always think, Peter Howell's doing all the music, but no, Jonathan Gibbs does this one, and he does a really good job. Like it really ratchets up some of the tension as well, and it's quite it's got drum machine staccatos, but not in the Kef McCulloch oversampling. Timu KLF impressions he was doing at the time.
Timu KLF.
Ooh. Hey, that's a new one. Yeah,
trademark mark.
Trademark. But yeah, the musical suite is really good. And it really. But I think when I was saying, because we keep saying it's new, and I'm going, some of this music, I don't know whether Mark Ayres has put some extra stuff in there to sort of seek some of the scenes together and some of the cues together. If he did. It worked pretty well. Not as, I suppose, Hammer-esque as some of his Daleks work and the War... I haven't watched the War Games Redux, but the music is really, really good. That's the Radiophonic Workshop music for the Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker era resonates still a lot with me today. And as you guys can attest, I was singing along, bobbing along, so yeah, it's good.
It's a good point you raised there, Mark, about the production on this, because look, we all remember the Tilting Head Sea Devils and the Door and the Merca, but even before we were really getting into special edition type stuff, we were looking at some of those sets and going, that's actually a really impressive set.
Yeah.
Consoles look good.
It's a big set.
Yeah, it's a big set. Yeah. Even without the special edition, some of the model work of the sea base looks really good. And we contrast that to, I think, our second Gin and TARDIS we did was the Twin Dilemma, where we there's a lot of areas there, but we commented on the fact that was end of season budget, where computer consoles are literally cardboard boxes with tin foil wrapped around them, and just it's the same season. It's the difference between the start and the end of the season.
Exactly.
They've got time, and so those sets look great.
They do look great.
And I well did.
The sets look great, yes. And they accentuate the very bright lighting.
Now, Richard, we only made the decision a couple of hours before you arrived that we would watch this instead of what we were planning to, but I believe you've still got a couple of notes to give us.
Oh, well, we can do dates. I mean, we did say it was screened very soon after the UK.
Yeah.
Season 21 actually debuted here on Monday, the 5th of March, 1984.
Wow.
So that's,
Oh, year 7.
So long ago.
Yeah. That's actually really quick because, Caves of Androzani nearly, in the UK, was pretty much either starting...
You're not here, no.
No, but I'm just saying, in the UK it started.
Yes.
So, in terms of, the usual things, that's a really quick turnaround to
Yeah,
get
it
them,
is.
where
That's-
season...
Absolutely.
The year after, we're waiting 9 months from season 22, from the UK finishing to when we got it.
That's right.
That's really good, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, we've talked a lot about how season 21 was screened here because we've done both the Twin Dilemma and the Awakening.
That's true.
So...
Haven't done Caves yet.
Yes, funnily enough, yet again, we're going to talk about the
transport issue.
problems.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's when it was screened. For those who are watching the block starting at 6 p.m. It was screened alongside the repeats of Home.
Home, home, home on the other side. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, Lothar and the Giants is the band who sang that.
Was it really?
Yes. They also did the music for Six of the Best.
There you go. You're a suppository of all knowledge, Richard.
Like the audience, I am too scratching my head. But anyway, carry on.
It meant something to you two in that. So
They apparently were a Melbourne band. I think that the ABC clearly got into,
Yeah. To do the theme song.
Yeah, to do some theme songs.
Yeah.
But, as I said, we've talked quite a bit about how season 21 was screened here. But, yes, you could have watched Home and then gone and watched this.
And then Dave mentioned in '88 it was screened. Was it
so-
part of the afternoon show? No, it was a Saturday block. Sorry,
So
yes.
they did a block
When
of...
they did those, Saturday afternoon omnibus replays.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
they did a bunch of season 18.
Yeah,
They did season 18s. They did some of season 19 minus the two-parter.
yeah.
Then they just jumped from the Visitation to Warriors of the Deep.
Wow.
Didn't do the two-parter, didn't do Awakening. And they did do Caves on that time, which would have been probably the first time I saw Caves properly.
And it went for about 3 minutes. It was the edited version, wasn't it?
I
Still.
don't know if it was the edited version or not. But
I think it was, because I reckon the VHS was the first time I saw the full version, I think. But,
yeah.
I hate that.
yeah, well, yes, Mark and his tape trading buddies.
Sailing the high seas.
And then was it shown in the night? Was it 93, 94, 4
when they
a.m.
did
block?
those 4 a.m.
Yeah.
screenings. Yeah, it was shown.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It was.
And then obviously the 2003 run that they did everything. Yeah, so it's been shown a few times here.
Yeah.
In its original glory.
Yes, not as much as the Pertwee and Tom stories.
Robot.
Season 12, Arctic
Season
Space.
12, Arctic Space Robot. Yeah.
All right, look, that's good. We'll come now to our final thoughts, and we'll start with you, Rob.
Well, the special edition is indeed special. You should hunt it out. It's a fantastic watch. As I said before, it's very, very pacey. The special effects elevate the story. You find yourself focusing on the good bits and less worried about the sort of the draggy bits and all that sort of thing. For me personally, I would have liked just the whole story concept, a bit more of the drama of the Cold War, analog that it is. But otherwise, this effort tonight is just fantastic. It really is a really enjoyable watching experience now. Yeah.
Mark.
I really enjoyed watching it, like Rob. It was actually good fun watching it with you guys, where we cheered along and cringed along a little bit and
Had a
few laughs. But like we usually do with episode 1, we have a bit of a joke and all of a sudden we start getting a little bit more serious towards the end of it. But yeah, that special edition really is one of the better ones, or probably one of the best ones I've seen. And it really improves the story, and yeah, it was just great to watch it again. So great to watch some real Doctor Who again. So I highly recommend it. Definitely go and seek it out from your local retailer when it becomes available. Richard,
It was really, really good.
thank you.
It is well worth the price of admission. I had a lot of fun watching it. I enjoyed watching it with you blokes, but that is a great improvement, and I definitely seek it out.
Look, I started this by saying that I've long been a defender of Warriors of the Deep, and that's well and truly on record on a number of podcasts. I do feel vindicated having watching that yes, the story actually is pretty good, and there's enough in the production design that can be defended. There are great sets, there are great models, there is good music. Like there actually was a lot there to start with that was detracted by some unbelievably bad moments. But look, when it comes to special editions, there have been some that have come in and go, oh, that was a nice little new effect. It doesn't really change your life. There are others where you see them doing some stuff and you go, is this still the same story? Like, if they kind of missed the point. This one is a very big remake of the story, but actually enhances the heart of the story. And it actually enhances the whole purpose of the story. Yeah. And I think this is comfortably the best special edition we've had come out. And we're very, very lucky to have it.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah,
and and there were some little bits of kisses to the past in the episode 4 as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't let them experience it. Yes.
We didn't mention they turned the flashing lights off the Silurians.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes, in the headpieces. Yes.
Look, I think it makes the Silurians look less stupid, but the problem is that it's clearly being filmed with the assumption that you're going to use that to tell he's talking.
Yes. Correct.
So without it, there are moments where I sit there going, okay, which side
and look at them, actually, the masks are incredibly immobile.
Yes.
There's one close-up where Iqbal's talking, and it's just basically this static rubber head.
Yes.
It's like that thing in Mask Man Drago, just a close-up of the mask.
There's another special edition where basically when the Silurian's talking and the light's not going off, there's little arrows pointing. Each one's talking this way. But it's good. Yeah, I actually think the light off, it was a lot better.
It's another thing that doesn't take you out of the story.
Correct.
True. I think Pete McTighe, who I believe headed the work on
Yes,
this,
yes,
has done a marvellous job.
Agreed.
Hats off to a fellow Australian.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So on that very positive note, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us once again for Gin and TARDIS.
That was fun.
Us for the 2026 season. We will be back next time to celebrate the anniversary of the telly movie.
Wow.
Now, we talk about stuff we haven't watched collectively for a long time. The telly movie, I think, none of us have watched for a very long time. So that, I think, could be a very interesting watch. We'll do that next time. In the meantime, please check out Spacefall. I think Rumours of Death is going to drop any moment now, Richard. We have,
soonish, yes.
Yep, and we have recorded up to the end of Series 3.
We have.
So that is all coming out.
I was just going to say, 42 to Doomsday still exists. It has a pulse. There is an episode that's being edited. Our thoughts on certain things will be, heading your way eventually.
Is it Dalek Master Plan or is it something else?
It's something else.
It is Dalek Master Plan, but not the ones you're expecting. Okay.
On that note, thank you, gentlemen. It's been a lot of fun, as always.
Thank you.
But I've been Dave.
I'm Richard.
I've been Mark.
I'm always Rob.
And we'll speak again soon.